Shit, I forgot. I forgot. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. On things that we have discovered, things that we have been talking about. And I don't know if. What's up, Danny? What's up, Danny? What's going on, boy? Um, I don't know if anybody watched Honcho's stream with Wink and Spitz because it's kind of like the same thing, but I learned some information that I didn't kind of know about. But also, I want to talk about just overall the Texans in general. I know something was being said in there along the lines of like, you know, uh, Jim Harbaugh, um, different things, coaching changes, a lot of stuff like that. And quite frankly, like I said in the roundtable the other day, that's what I look forward to. I want that, not because I'm a Bill O'Brien hater or not because I'm is um, like just a hater in general. Uh, we've been stagnant. We've plateaued. Like we've hit the tippity top with Bob. Like that was it. Like we hit the tippity top with Bob. Uh, and I think, in retrospect, I feel like that if we don't pull the trigger on something like this, I mean, we're gonna regret it, man. Like we really will. Like, and I think in general, we need a DC, we need an OC, we need to be a traditional team. We're not in the driver's seat to say, oh, well, we don't need an OC because we're this good and we have OB and everything else. I mean, granted, I get it. People have faith. Like people have faith in OB. People have faith in whatever that you portray to believe in. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a disappointment, man. It was really a disappointment for a team that's in our division. We play twice a year. Um, it just shows lack of planning. It shows lack of coaching. It shows lack of determination, will, manpower, things like that. Because this team is the same team that you played in Week 14. It's the same team that you played earlier. There's nothing different. There's nothing different. And to me, it just shows them being lackadaisical and thinking that they can run over anybody. And we're not that good. I don't give a fuck of how much you're a Texans fan. We are not that good. We are not just good enough to go out and say, oh, we're gonna beat whoever, or we're gonna beat such and such, or we're gonna do such and such because we're not that good whatsoever. Um, Also, by the way, if you just came in here, hey, I don't mind. Can you guys drop a like? I see 5, 6 people watching. You drop a like, I appreciate it. But like I was saying, in general, it's we're not that good. We can't make these decisions and say, oh, well, we don't need an OC because we got OB. We seen where that got us last year, dead last in the division. Pretty much. I mean, we were injured, yes, but it's troubling because you look at these guys and you think we have talent. We do have talent. We have J.J. Watt. We have people like Jadeveon Clowney, Benardrick McKinney, Whitney Merciless, even Christian Covington, who came on real strong this year. I was thoroughly impressed with Justin Reed. Um, but this year, quite frankly, uh, game system that we're taking to NCAA play by 30 points. Oh yes, I mean, and I agree. There are things that Jim would have to work on to make it better for him. Um, but everything that you're saying is kind of like, have we made it to a big game? Have we? There's been years where we haven't even made the playoffs. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not like picking on you or like saying shit or whatever, but I just kind of want to like elaborate my point because I completely get that point and I respect that point, and I respect where you come from. But that is way better than what the Texans have been doing. Also, I see that he has better ways to make talent more effective on the team. There are most definitely things that I like Bob doing better than what he would possibly do. With the way in the fact of how Bob works so close with Deshaun, the way that he kind of not got him on track, but made him kind of he made him that guy. Like he put him in a place of where he was supposed to be, and I feel like that they made a playbook revolving around him that kind of adapted to him and something that he grew into, to make it easier for him. I feel like it was simplified. Um, and more of a speed style offense to fit Deshaun Watson and what he is capable of. But also, what we're missing is in the same fact of what Jim Harbaugh also did that with Colin Kaepernick. When they moved on from Alex Smith and transitioned into Colin Kaepernick, the playbook did not stay the same. There were drastic changes in the playbook, which led to them being more useful. It was something that teams have not seen before, so people were thrown off by that, and not something. And nobody knew who Colin Kaepernick was. So when you have a young African American guy who can run and you make plays around him and caught them off guard because they're not planning for that, they're not game planning for that. That's where he's smart in his mind. He's able to revolve a playbook around somebody else to make somebody a focal point, and he does that from week in and week out. Because especially, it was very, very nice because if you go back to the 49ers season where they went to the Super Bowl, unfortunately they lost to the Ravens, but they were making changes and making acclamations to things week in and week out. One week it would go through Kaepernick. Kaepernick has maybe 110 yards rushing and throwing for 200 something yards with 2 touchdowns passing. Then it switches over to Anquan Bolden, and Anquan Bolden has a crazy game. Then it switches over to Vernon Davis, and that guy has a great game. And it's different people that he relied and different schemes, schematics, and different teams that they played. And that's kind of where my head is on that. I thought it was utterly embarrassing that we went in at home against a division rival in the playoffs and lost that bad, and got a hot start like that. And I specifically said that if the Texans weren't going to be able to stop Andrew Luck's arm and stop that early, and if they got going early, there was nothing that we could do because we would play catch up like we always do, and we never come back, and we never do enough to win those games. And I felt like completely that's exactly what happened. They came out, they outplayed us, they outcoached us, they did everything better because they took the time and was willing to say, hey, like, we're playing the Texans first round. This is our division rivals. Like, we're gonna go out here, do the same thing, study the same film, do the same things that we did week 14 and the other week that we played them, and they came out successful. I'm not in the Texans organization. I cannot say this did or did not happen. But I feel like in that locker room, they made a great point during the game, and this is not throwing shade or anything like that. DeAndre Hopkins was not at practice a lot. Those wide receivers are finally getting work. But the scared to watch the fundamentals of most games. Don't get me wrong. I could be happy if you replace the ball with less and turn into. Oh, I mean, and I understand that too. And I think it's more preference based. I feel like people are more preference based on who you would like at the helms and at the reins of the team. But like I was saying, what was I saying? What was I saying? I was saying something before I read that. Oh well, fuck it. I don't care. But that was embarrassing, man. We lost at home to the Colts, and I don't even know. What I would like to see happen this year is that I would like to re-sign Clowney. I think that's something, or franchise tag him, just simply to keep him on the team, because this year was an iffy year. It was like, okay, we see the reasons on why we could re-sign him, but we also see the reasons on why we shouldn't re-sign him or why we wouldn't want to re-sign him. And so that far I do understand and respect. So I wouldn't be opposed to franchise tagging Clowney, because I was not thoroughly disappointed with him, but I was disappointed with Clowney. Not because of the playoff game, but at the whole year, because I felt like I've seen him dominate. I've seen him take over games. I've seen him explode, be an explosive player. And I feel like he takes plays off. And I feel like that he should be the one taking advantage of it, because this is your contract year. And when J.J. Watt started taking off like I thought he would, and he started propelling into being one of the top 3 guys that were leading the league in sacks, they went back to old classic Watt. They were like, fuck that. Let's double team Watt. We don't give a shit. We're in double team Watt. They were calling different stunts, different offensive pass blocks, and they were doubling Watt. A lot often that we've seen Clowney being on a one-on-one situation, into where he is one thing that I've learned about Clowney in general, he is How would I want to put this without sounding like an asshole? He is a. I, hmm. Don't get me wrong, because I feel like I'm using this term very loosely, but he is a what I like to call a one-trick pony in a sense. Um, he's great at stopping the run. He's great at visualizing cut blocks. Um, Guys, obviously there are multiple great free agents like Jason Verrett, Ronald Darby. We need some positions. I really would. Yeah, I'll touch that in a second too, because I'm looping back towards that actually. So it's kind of good. But Clowney, one trick pony. He was great on the rush. He was great at identifying pulls, lead blocks, being able to blow up the block, being able to get his head in the backfield and create control. Um, so it's a little. So I was a little slanted there because I'm thinking like we got this guy as the first overall pick in the first round, and I really feel like that I haven't seen enough out of him to classify him as a just a first overall for sure pick. Like I'm not kind of regretting it, which I'm not saying I am or that I'm not, but it's very tough to say that when you have other guys in the same class that are propelling and actually one of them who's probably going to be the defensive player of the year. Both of them are always in the contention of defensive player of the year. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that we did that. Like Duke and Whitney could thrive better in his possible absence. Yeah, I feel like Duke Ejiofor was very not utilized the right way. What's up, King 88? He definitely was not utilized the right way. When he came in and he made plays the way that he was making plays, I feel like there should have been more initiative to improvise and put him inside of the defense in certain packages and different schemes and different settings. Maybe if it's third and long, I want to go ahead and put Ejiofor in there. They didn't utilize him as much as I think that they should. Also, going back to the fact that also with Merciless, it was silly. It was stupid because there was different ways that they were being utilized that they shouldn't have been being utilized, and they kept sliding Ejiofor into fucking like linebacker situations and shit like that. When I feel like he should be coming off the edge, he should be doing a lot more than just doing that. It was a lot of shit. It was a lot of crazy shit that I feel like, in that sense, it, it, it might be time to hang that part up. You know, we need somebody. We need definitely, and this is what I was going to touch on because Danny said it completely perfectly in retrospect of what I was going to say. That the fact that Brian Gaines, if he does not step up, there's going to be repercussions for that. Because at the end of the day, we have tons of fucking free agents. We need corners. We need corners. We need corners. I don't understand. The fact of the matter is that we do need corners. We need to part ways with Jonathan Joseph. Kareem Jackson really played for his career this year, and he showed that he was able to play. He showed that he was able to show up, and that was something that it. I lost respect for Kareem Jackson, but then I also gained respect too. It was kind of neutral because of the fact that he's been playing for us for a really long time, and he came out this year because I feel like he knew that he was on borrowed time, and I think he just came out and performed the way that he was supposed to because he knew he was on borrowed time. At the end of the day, salute to that man because he wants to get paid, but also um, that's not the way that should have happened. That should have been there should have been some more shit going on with that, but you know how that goes. We need to address our O-line. Our O-line needs to be addressed. With these picks that we have in the draft, with cap room that we potentially could have if we do some certain moves to make certain things work. Also, with the way that how appealing we are to other teams, I feel like that there's a way to kind of make shit happen, to make things happen. Um, I had mixed opinions on this about if we should re-sign the Honey Badger or not. I'm gonna re-sign the Honey Badger. If I was the Texans, I would re-sign the Honey Badger. And simply based off the fact of why I would re-sign the Honey Badger, it's just simply based off of the way that his compassion for this team, the way that he was able to come in and make a difference. He made a big difference. Whether you like it or not, however you want to look at that difference and appreciate that difference, he made a difference. He came in, he was a leader, he got guys. I feel like that's something that probably was kind of went under the radar is that what a lot of people don't know, he actually was the one that was coaching up on, what's his name, Reed. So how that was going was that actually during practice and after practice, I mean, they were actually after practice putting in work. He was going over him with NFL mentality, different things on footwork, agility, break speed, eyesight, vision, because of the fact that he was a rookie. And if you don't know that Honey Badger and Eric Reed are really good friends. So what that happened, I guess that he was just talking to his little brother just to kind of like, like that's what family does. He's a friend, but also made him to make great plays and be a really good asset to the team. And that's something that the Honey Badger brings that a lot of people don't bring. We don't have a leader in our secondary. We do not. Justin Reed, he's been great, but he's a rookie. When we signed the Honey Badger, it's just not easy mental for just anyone to take up. Yes, it's not. It's not easy for anyone to just take up and come into the forefront and say, hey, like, you got to do this, you got to do that, and propel somebody and make somebody better. This is what this sport is about. And this is why your Tom Brady's, your Aaron Rodgers, your Honey Badgers, your J.J. Watts, all these people, your Khalil Macks, your Von Millers, is not because they are great players. It's because they set up their other players for success. That's what it is. Why do you think Tom Brady takes no-name receivers and makes them great? Why do you think that you signed Wes Welker and bring him to the Broncos and to where he wasn't producing as much as he was with the Patriots, but he was a great asset? Tom Brady makes those guys better. Peyton Manning made those guys better. Aaron Rodgers makes those guys better. Tyrann Mathieu made our secondary better. What I personally felt like what happened was that I knew he worked with Justin Reed. Now, what I don't know is, I don't know if he worked with Kareem Jackson. I don't know what, that relationship was like or who else he was working with per se. And seeing a jolt out of Kareem Jackson, I wouldn't be surprised if the Honey Badger did lay into Kareem Jackson shit and was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? You're way better than that. Like, let's do this, let's do that. So it's crazy. I feel like Gaines needs to attack this offseason. If he wants to have a good offseason and we want to set ourselves up for success next year, there needs to be things done. The O-line needs to be addressed. Not no makeshift O-line, not no half-ass O-line. We keep what we need, and then we get rid of whatever, and we make it happen. Even if we have to go to the extent also with we have 2 seconds. We have 2 seconds in a first. If we package a first and our second and we can move up and actually get somebody that we know that we can utilize and use, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But what we need to is get the most bang for our buck. We need an O-line. I said this when they drafted him. Rankins was not meant to be on this O-line. He definitely was not. His arm length was not good enough to begin with. So what happens is that as he's engaging with blockers, and whenever the fuck that it like they're already close up, so he can't stop momentum. There was different things going on. He was not fit to play that O-line, and I felt like he was in the wrong place to thrive. When we're an O-line that needs help as bad as we did, I felt like that was a bad pickup. I was not happy with that pickup. And if you go back to my videos during the draft, you could definitely see that was not a good pickup. And even videos after the draft where I addressed that and said that was not a good pickup. I am just really confused on what will happen. Learn from past mistakes and draft small corners at high picks. I can agree and disagree pretty much with that statement, just simply based off the fact they just need to make the right choice. If they have to go in early on a corner, don't be afraid to go in early on a fucking corner. Don't be afraid. If there's If there is somebody that can be used and utilized and makes plays as a corner, whether it's a corner, an O lineman, oh shit, we could fucking use a lot of shit. I mean, if we want to be honest, we could use a lot of shit. I mean, we need a corner. I mean, preferably in a perfect world, we need O line, we need corners, we need more depth at receiver, and also what I'm thinking about is actually getting another D tackle, get another D tackle that can plug up and actually and utilize Christian Coveting. Waiting at 24 isn't an option. We can do this another year. Let's say hypothetically greedy falls to us and we draft him. Would that be good? Um, I'm gonna be completely honest. I know who Greedy is, but I have not started my draft analysis. I have not started anything at looking at tape and reviewing tape. This is something that this is the time where actually I'm gonna get in contact with Ray Ray, and this is where we usually get in the lab and we talk about shit like this. That is my no disrespect to nobody else, but that is one of my favorite and one of few only people that I want to collab with when it goes to drafting, because me and Ray Ray have like a kind of like this chemistry thing where we understand each other, we understand what comes and what our team needs, and other people, everybody in the round table understands that and knows that. But also, what me and Ray Ray have is something to where we can kind of like talk about it, delegate between us, but we're easily to say, hey, like we could be very keen on, say, for instance, using as an example, like I want Greedy, but I can look at film and analysis, and then he could be like, hey, like I see this, so then I'll go back and look at it and be like, I don't like that. And just overall, we can talk about it, break down film, watch film, and we both have free time to kind of delegate and do what we like to do. And I think last year was a great year for me and Ray Ray, specifically because of the way that we drafted. I mean, the way that we were talking about drafts. Like literally, nobody knows this, but me and Ray Ray were up. Me and Ray Ray were up to like 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? That shit ain't clickbait. That ain't clickbait, bro. We're really talking about basically the fall of them and coaching changes and shit like that. Trust me, I won't clickbait you guys. Not yet. Nah, I'm fucking with y'all. But yeah, but a lot of people don't know that. Like me and Ray Ray up to like 2, 3 in the morning, to where we're just talking about draft prospects because we're really putting in the work to do shit like that and really talk about it and to figure out this shit. And so I'm a little so that's what I'm about to get back in the lab and start doing. The panic mode. They are in panic mode. It is panic mode. It's pandemonium, baby. We're in panic mode because we fucking stagnant as fuck and we plateaued and we're sitting even and we can't go any further than the fucking divisional round and playoffs, And we played a divisional round opponent and we fucking lost. We choked to somebody we played twice a year. Like that's what's so mind-boggling to me is the fact that we lost to somebody we played twice a year, in which it all goes back to where I want coaching changes. I want different changes to be done. Everybody's not a fan of that, but I want those changes to be made simply based off of the strength of why are we playing the same team and make no adjustments? We don't do anything differently. It was weird. Like, it was real weird. But like I was saying, like that's what I want to get back into. So I'm going to hit up Ray Ray probably later on in the week or next week. But what I like to do, if you had one pick, who you picking, corner or O-line? If I had one pick, O-line, that's off the rip because I want to protect Watson. I know what Watson can do if he has time. If we have receivers and we have time, like, bro, we would be straight. We would be good. And we wouldn't have a problem. We really wouldn't. So it's really like that. If I had one pick, that's what my pick would be. But at the end of the day, I think by the end of this week or starting off next week, because really what I like to do personally, I like to wait until I know everybody who's going into the draft. So like today, Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State, he just wants to go to the draft. Bro, I was so on giving O'Brien a chance, but I listened to what everyone said last offseason, and I see it so clearly after this season. Exactly. I think people were not hip last year to what I was on that train last year too as well. Not saying that I'm right or wrong, but I knew what I saw and I knew what I was seeing, and I kind of spotted it early, and I knew what was gonna happen. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, and quite frankly, um, that's just some crazy shit. But like I was saying, me and Ray will link up. I just want to wait until I see everybody who's entering the draft, because like I said, Dwayne Haskins just entered the draft today, and we like Kyler Murray. There's also other people, defensive prospects, offensive prospects who have not actually said, "Hey, I'm actually going." So when that deadline comes, me and Ray will get together. We'll start looking at prospects, talking about prospects, and we might break it up like we did last year. I'll just start going for more on fourth down. It's all situational, bro. I won't say that he needs to start going for it on fourth down more. I will just say that it's situational. It really depends on the situation at hand, on when he should go for it on fourth down and when he shouldn't. But also, it's just fucking horrible. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, in general, I feel like there are coaches for our situation that would be better for our situation than Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is a great coach, don't get me wrong, but there's people that are better for our situation than Bill O'Brien is for our situation right now at this moment. Everybody does not realize this, but everybody has different time periods for coaches. Connection and success have two different meanings. Keep that in mind. Yes, it does. Connection and success does have two different things. You can have connection, but also it cannot equal into success. You can also have success, but does not equal into connection. And teams who do have success and don't have connection will not win the Super Bowl. Teams that have connections, have a connection, but are not, good in that limelight. I mean, it sucks, man. It really does suck. So it's all different. I think O'Brien is not what we need at this time or point. I think he was just a stepping stone to build a foundation, would be the right way to put it. He built a foundation that I feel like somebody could come in and build on more to make it greater. All coaches are not Super Bowl winners. Your GMs are not bringing in these coaches just to win a Super Bowl. Some GMs, they bring in coaches as stepping stones to build something that they might lack. O'Brien, as people like to describe him, is a quarterback guru. Okay, what is one thing that the Texans fucking lacked forever? We lacked a good quarterback, and we lacked a good person that's at the reins of a quarterback. And I think I could be wrong. I'm just going off of assumptions of how I feel and kind of how I look at it and view it. But I quite feel like that they brought in O'Brien, brought in a quarterback, worked with that quarterback. And once that quarterback reaches a status that Bill O'Brien cannot build on no longer, they will move on from him and get somebody else in to actually build a team. Personal opinion, not saying that it's a fact, but that's kind of like my outlook on that. At the end of the day, things that need to take place and things that need to happen would be we need offensive line, we need corners, we need an offensive coordinator. We need somebody who actually has an eye for the offense, who knows what they need to do with just the whole offense, not a quarterback in particular, but somebody who knows how to deal with a whole offense. People who know. Our strength and conditioning coach actually made an improvement. He did actually made a difference that I didn't quite talk about or make a statement and say that he did a great job at doing that. But he did a ridiculously great job at keeping some guys healthy. Speaking of healthy, Will Fuller, unpopular opinion, I feel like we should move on from Will Fuller simply based off the fact that, dude, you've tore something. You've been out 2 seasons in a row, for majority of the time, and people, I get how people are like, but that's, you gotta wasn't saying that about J.J. Watt or what about J.J. Watt? What about blah blah blah, bro? I genuinely don't want to hear that simply based off the fact because I knew what J.J. Watt could do. He got hurt. I don't know shit about Will Fuller. I would not cry over spilled milk if we let Will Fuller go and he goes somewhere else and succeeds. Great for that man. In this system, what we like, which was fucking funny to me, we need physical and long and rangy wide receivers. Speedy guys. I feel like Kiki should be the slot guy. That's just who we need in the slot as our speedster. But on the outsides, we need two big ass guys to go get it. We said this last offseason, but we were kind of conflicted on what we needed because half were like, we need Will Fuller. Half of us were like, no, we need a fucking big ass receiver, like, you know. And what my opinion last year was to move Will Fuller to the slot and get another wide receiver on the outside that has more diversity, I would say. Will Fuller is not your get up and go get it type guy. He will outrun, he will run long routes, and he will make catches that way. Um, as we've seen with Demaryius Thomas touch the field, his production with the Broncos, would you be open to converting Foreman to a catching back or tight end? He's always open as double better receiving rushing in some games. Foreman, no, I would not. And this is why I would use him more and utilize him more as in like a double running back package, and like to where that they can do multiple things out of the backfield, to where they can do a run pass option to where it's similar to what the Eagles run, or similar to what a lot of teams run nowadays, but to fake the run to Lamar, have Foreman go out on a swing route and have your two outside receivers running slants. That's what I would like to see, because if you have that option when you have Foreman utilized, so if you can fake it to Miller or whoever our future running back of the future is, have Foreman swing out, because you have to see what coverages and what they're doing actually, which I feel like would free up a lot, because if you have those two guys coming in on slants and you have that guy going out free, say for instance that they're playing a cover two, what's going to happen is that they're playing a cover two, the corners are going to shade down. They're going to come down. They want to cover the cloud to flat. So they're going clouds. They're working their way up. So right when the wide receiver breaks in from his cut, he's going to pass him off to the linebacker, which means that he's back down into the flats, looking if the tight end is leaking out or if the running back is leaking out of the bag. So if that happens, passing him to a linebacker, there's miscommunications from linebackers. They're looking forward. They're not looking back, and they're not doing other shit. Boom, you have easy connections. If they're playing a cover three or cover four and then they're pressing back, they're going backwards and they're overshadowing, you can hit Foreman underneath and boom, you have a quick 5-6 yards, if not more. But I would not convert him specifically to a catching back or a tight end, simply based off the fact his legs and his power and power back situations, I want him. I want him over Blue, simply based off the fact because I feel like Foreman he's more of that guy, a go-get-it guy. He's not going to be the guy to be like, oh, let me run around left. Okay, there ain't nothing there. Let me cut back up. Let me do all that shit. No, he sees a hole and he's, boom, full speed, straight through the hole. And I think that's somebody that we need as a counterpart to Miller if we do not move on from Miller. But only reason why I'm saying that is simply based off of previous assessments of Miller. This year, he was actually way much better than what I fucking thought he was going to be. So, shout out to Lamar Miller in that sense. But back to what I was saying, it's an unpopular opinion, but I would like to do away with Will Fuller and leave Will Fuller's job, per se, to Kiki. But also why I also wouldn't do that is because Demaryius Thomas is getting up in age, and I don't think that there's somebody that we can fucking have a counterpart to DeAndre. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans attack with either that second round pick or a third round pick on a wide receiver. And I would say on a big wide receiver, because I think that they realize that. I know that they're not dumb. They're not slow. They realize that they should have somebody like Nuke on the other side of Nuke, because the more one-on-ones that you can create with a bigger wide receiver, or more, I wouldn't say bigger, I think I'm using the wrong word, but not a speedy guy and actually possession receiver, it makes it easier for you. It makes it more easy to have Deshaun Watson have more confidence, because he has a second Nuke that isn't Nuke and not good as Nuke, but it's still kind of like his great value second Nuke. But then in the middle, you have QT or Will Fuller, whoever it might be in that slot, maneuvering in the speed in the middle, which QT had tons of fucking success with, and that's where I like QT better than Fuller. Do you see Smith staying or leaving? He is open but drops a lot of passes. I don't see Smith leaving. I think he stepped up big in a way of somebody who was not playing and who stepped into a role that he was kind of forced into due to injuries. I think if they work with him a little bit better, he could be a nice, reliable role player, like a bench player coming off the bench that might help us if Say for instance that QT has a stinger, or Hop actually has to go out for a couple games because I mean not a couple games, but a couple drives or plays or whatever. He's a filling guy that you wouldn't be too worried about. I would not do away with him. I actually kind of liked his skill set and his asset and what he brought to the team. Besides the drops. Um, but I think that that's something that they're going to attack. They're going to look at another wide receiver, the counterpart, because they know that Demaryius Thomas, he's almost on his way out. Tearing Achilles is a tough injury to come back for anybody. So I think they might know that he's on his way out. I think that Fuller, they kind of understand where they're at with Fuller. I would not be surprised if they give him one more year and be like, bro, if you don't play this full year, we're going to get rid of you, dog. Because if they're doing coaching changes like I think they're going to do this year, then when they get a whiff of that and they're like, bro, like, I watched y'all. Like, bro, you're not in no games. And when you're in games, you're great, but you can't even make it to the game. I want to go to war with all my dudes, all my guys. I don't know if it's something Fuller's doing personally, but he's getting hit like Nuki's getting hit, like Watson's getting hit. Those guys have a Iron Man mentality. They get hit, they get back up because they have that drive, that compassion to keep winning. They want to keep going. Will Fuller, he gets hit. He's like Mr. Glass. You know what I mean? Like he gets hit, and you're like, you hold your breath to make sure he gets up because you're like, okay, cool, he's up. And I don't want that guy. I just don't. And the sleeper, like, this will be the last thing before I get off. This is a little bit longer, but one thing that I will say before I get off is that I do, it's kind of, it's not under the radar, but it's considered stupid. I see the Texans going after either Le'Veon Bell or or making a trade for somebody as in the likes of a nice wide receiver, the counterpart Nuke, which I would say like a solid number 2. I'm not saying this name in particular, like these are the people they want to go after, but because they're mostly franchise players, but they're gonna look at somebody in relation to like a Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is the perfect example, actually. They're not worried about that. They know what Bell's going to do. Bell is that guy you're not worried about. Bell is that guy that you would sign and you would be completely at peace of mind knowing that he's in your backfield. No matter if he's a better blocker than Miller. He's a better route runner than Miller. He's a better pass catcher than Miller. And also he's a little bit more shifty than Miller and has better vision than Miller. Miller is a great running back, and everybody's gonna take it as hate towards Miller because I don't hate Miller, but Bell's gonna give you more than Miller's gonna give you. I think Bell does not have a problem with playing that style of offense that we run. Miller would be way more successful in a zone scheme, not that pistol down the A and B gaps. He's not that type of guy. But Le'Veon Bell don't give a shit. He will sit behind that line. Boom, vision, like he's seeing what he got to do, and he's going to make plays. He's going to move. He has that vision. Miller does not have that vision. But I see them going after either Le'Veon Bell or targeting a big name in the receiver department because they want somebody reliable that they know that they can keep. Somebody that really stands out to me as like the type of receiver they want. Not the receiver they're going to get specifically, but the type of receiver they want is somebody as in the mind of like Keenan Allen, somebody that's a secure passer. Like, boom, I throw it to you, boom, you're gonna catch it. You might do a little extra with it, or you might not, but you will make that catch and you will be secure. You have the awareness to get to toe tap. You have the awareness to see whether I need to fade up because my corner's playing down low. I know I'm supposed to run this 5-yard and out, but how about that I fade it up a little bit more to where my quarterback's going to see me and then we're going to create space. Like those receivers and those guys who can make plays happen, and when they know how to make them happen, that's why you see things, and that's why communication is very important because things like Watson and Hopkins, you probably don't know this. I did not know this for the longest time. Hopkins he has option routes. every pass play for Hopkins is damn near an option route. So when they're calling plays, they give Hopkins three. I think somebody explained this to me, and I can't tell you who explained this to me, simply based off of who I talk to and who I know, and that would be disrespectful to give out their name and give out like information like that on this guy because he is a I'm not like pulling weight or like trying to be cool or whatever, but he is a guy in that organization who is high enough to know this knowledge. He is high enough to know this knowledge. He is in that facility that I can say every day. So he knows. But he believes in building through the draft, not the. Well, that's that. Well, he might not even be here that much longer to even have that input. But whatever. So yeah, whatever he believes, it's not winning playoff games. But like I was saying, my guy in the Texans organization, he told me this, and it kind of shocked the fuck out of me because I didn't notice it until I watched more film and kind of understood. Hopkins has option routes. He has anywhere from 3 to 4 routes that he can run in a single play. They are all choreographed, and he all makes those decisions off of what he sees. Because he is that fucking guy. He can do that. So how he explains it to me is that in certain plays that there's certain combinations that he can run. It's either it's like a slant in or out. He can either run a post corner straight. It's simple stuff like that that kind of starts off with the same baseline, but can go into any different thing, into where it's Deshaun Watson's job to figure out where he's going to be and locate him. Because he has all those routes to do. That would be nice to say just run what you want to, but it's all choreographed to where he doesn't interfere with anybody else's route. So that's why they do it that way, and they give him a predetermined 3 to 4 routes to run in that he can choose from to not interfere with other people's routes, because it could be very, very bad. But at the end of the day, that is something that I recently just learned that I did not know about. And there's other things that I know too that I don't really want to talk about, simply based off of the fact that I don't either A, don't have all the details, B, I don't know fully and completely what's going on, or C, I just don't want to talk about it because it's that classified, or D, I just don't want to talk about it simply because it's not that important to talk about. So anything that I can talk about and is actually clear to talk about and like really put out there like that, I don't have a big enough platform to be a threat and to say, oh, I can say this and they're gonna be worried about that, because they're not. But that's kind of like the thing, you know what I mean? So it's crazy, but in general, those are overall my whole things of what I seen to shake up this year upcoming. These guys want to win. I just don't think it's the right people at the reins to help them win. But other than that, let's take a whole overview for people who might be here who wasn't here in the beginning. Overall, in general, we talked about coaching talks. If you did not catch the Sauce Roundtable live stream, they were talking about Jim Harbaugh as a possibility coming to the Texans. We talked about that. They do need to let go of that good guy mentality, because that shit is some pussy shit. It is bullshit. We talked about Harbaugh would be good. Yes, he fucking would be. But I'm still kind of torn. We talked about how we needed an OC. We talked about front office, what Gaines needs to do. We talked about what we needed to dissect, what we needed to add to this team. My personal thoughts on being shared towards different players and different systems, schematics, and things like that. If you guys have any more comments or anything that you guys want to drop or that you want me to talk about, this, and before also I leave, I have a few people in here. Yes, that's also something I said. We need to do a new DC, but I will be back more consistently now. I have been able to create time to move around and actually have work, family time, and do my YouTube time. So I'm very excited to announce that I will be back doing this. As far as like roundtable stuff, different stuff of that nature. I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure quite yet. Um, it's not like saying because like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna let me in, or if I don't. It's just I don't know if I'm ready to kind of carry that load, and I feel like that I want to kind of get back into my swing of things of what I want to do before I even think about diving into that part, because they have a fan base that has grown substantially before like after I like kind of like step back for a little bit to take care of like my family. And I quite frankly, what I look at it as is that it's if I jump back in too soon, and kind of it's just like I'm throwing myself back in there, and I would I would reap the benefits of that because of the fact that they do have a following that does not know me as much, or a lot of newcomers who have came through um, since my absence. And I feel like that's very selfish of me to come in there at that point of time without having my own videos being like released, like not putting in work, and then going to a whole nother channel and then coming back to my channel where I'm not producing videos. To me, they might not view that as being disrespectful, but I do, because I believe in you shouldn't want to eat off another man's plate, and you should actually be able to carry your own load before you can take a load of somebody else. And that's just my personal belief in that. Uh, exactly. I don't want to feel like I'm leeching, because everybody, and like they're gonna be like, "Oh no, but you've been here, bro." Like, fuck all that. But it's my personal standpoint, because I'm my own person, and they have a fan base that has grown substantially since I haven't been there. So I kind of want to get back in my swing of things before I even say, "Bro, let me hop back in the round table." Um, Future goals of what I would like to do in general, that's something that I want to get towards. But also I want to work with the J&J podcast, because bruh, Ray Ray, like me and Ray Ray are like this, you know. No, I cannot see the Watt brothers on the same team. I don't think that would ever happen. They might, I mean, or I wouldn't say I don't see that happening, but it wouldn't be on the Texans, quite frankly. But that's just personal opinion. But I was saying, me and Ray Ray are kind of like this. That's my boy. That's my dog. So I would like to be incorporated with what he's doing, because of us together. We don't like we think alike, but then we don't. Like, we're not afraid to like combat each other. It's just like me and Ray Ray have this like it's a Shannon and Skip type deal, but we're more like, I guess, like I don't know how to explain it, but like if y'all seen that, and like y'all seen me and Ray Ray do shows together, we've done a lot of stuff together. You know what chemistry I'm talking about. But that's something that I would like to work towards, is doing the J&J podcast, and also getting back into things to get back into the round table to do what I want to do. But it all comes in due time, on my time, on when I feel like I want to do it. It's not, and it's just strictly based off the fact that I don't want to be in another man's. I don't want another man to carry my weight, because I've never been a believer in that, and I stand on that, and I have respect for those guys. I have respect for each and every single one of those guys in there. So my respect and like all those things mixed together, my high respect for them, their respect for me, and things of my own personal mentality that I would never do to just for personal reasons. I'm gonna hold off on that. I won't say that it'll be ridiculously long, but I won't say that it'll be soon. It's all what me and Hancho kind of come up with, and what we kind of talk about and delegate with each other. Um, but those are things that I want to do. I will be back to streaming, but as of now, it'll be more along the lines of like Texans stuff, a little bit of Rocket stuff, and mostly focused on the draft and free agency. Uh, and I might drop a few like different gameplays from different games every now and again, because I'm producing both on one platform. So I have gaming for some of my subs that are gamers, like they're gamer fans, and then I have some of my subs that are all delegated to Houston sports, Texans, and shit like that. Um, in the future, yes, I will create a separate channel for both of them. But until now, until I get that big to do something of that nature, it will be right here, right now, and it will be both on one incorporated stream. I hope y'all don't have any problems with that. But with that being said, I'm approaching 50 minutes. I really appreciative for you guys coming out. I know I have not been active. I've been more concerned with my family. I'm learning how to become a father. I'm learning to do a lot of different things on my own that was not doing before, with different changes to my circumstances and what I've been doing lately. I am I'm more focused on being a great father, and being a role model to my son, which was the reason why I stepped away and took the time of what I needed, because I knew I wasn't putting out content. And I wasn't gonna bullshit like I was putting out content simply based off of the fact, and I'm not gonna half-ass and do content simply based off the fact I have respect for myself, but also I wanted to be a father. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great boyfriend. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great best friend. I want to be a lot of things to my family. So I had to step away from YouTube to get my ducks in a row and my shit in order. So, it's kind of where I'm at with this. I still currently have a lot of things going on with myself personally, um, with things that I'm dealing with, as far as personal stuff, mentally and physically. Um, but I plan on working it out, and getting through with a lot of stuff and problems that I've been dealing with lately. And we'll figure out how to make it all work. I want to be great for you guys, simply based off the fact that you guys are utilizing time that y'all are giving to me that you don't have to. So I greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, you guys, love all you guys. I really greatly appreciate you guys for stopping in, taking the time to listen to me and rant about my Texans and this embarrassing loss that we had, and about myself and my personal life. If you guys have any videos that you want to see, anything that you want to see, boom, drop them in the comments below. I want to be able to give y'all what y'all want. I want to be able to give y'all things that you guys want to look at, that you guys want to see. I don't want to give y'all shit that y'all not going to pay attention to, that you guys are not going to watch. So drop your ideas down below. Drop different people that you want to see me like collab with, or if there's anybody that you want me to work hard to kind of set up something to where we can talk together, and be in one intimate fashion to kind of talk with each other. If you want to see me link with Ray Ray, if you want, or if you're dying to see me back in the roundtable more, or if you're dying for these things, drop that all down below. I see every comment. I see everything. So whatever you guys want to see and that you guys are more interested in, that's what I'm interested in. So like I said, drop that down below. It was great talking to y'all. If anything that y'all guys want, like I said, drop it down below. But other than that, man, you guys